Oh,
there it is.
Oh, hello.
There it is.
Everywhere. Usually I have the cup of coffee. I'm lacking today.
I didn't expect you.
I got my big red cup.
Got my tea.
Daniel, get with the program, man. Come on.
I got my cup. I'm missing
Jeremy,
out.
what's going on? Deeks.
All right.
Look at all
Welcome
that.
back to another Tuesday.
Some of the fellas.
It's always a fun Tuesday.
Gavin, what's going on?
How was it?
Gavin, we're out
Yeah,
this
Luke,
morning.
give us a rundown of that. 'Cause I know.
No, it wasn't.
Awful.
No, it wasn't.
It was one of the slowest days of the year. The only day that was worse was because of the rain. I caught
You guys had a rough day.
two calico all morning.
Yeah, you know,
Oh man, it was. I had no
We had a
fish.
full boat skunk.
dude. What was it? It was like a
Full
Saturday
boat
or
skunk.
Friday, and only a handful of people actually caught fish. The bite was fire in the morning before the sun came up, but right when the sun came up, the bite just completely stopped. And
Jeremy,
yeah,
Jesse, good stuff.
if it wasn't for the hot dogs at the end, I don't think.
Yeah, I heard about that, buddy.
As successful.
Yeah, no hands. I like it.
No hands.
No teeth.
Oh yeah,
Sideways.
Who cut
Charlie
the
So,
he
biggest trick?
actually eats the hot dogs straight off the grill. He actually, like
No
bobbing
buns.
for apples. He actually bobs
No
the
buns.
hot
Just eats the
dogs
skin off
the
them.
grill.
he knows why they call it a hot dog.
He goes hot on them.
So
Cheers,
Phil,
Nicky.
man, tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
I'm just a dumb guy who likes to fish.
Aren't we all?
Yeah.
So what I'm going to say is it's been pretty cool from when I first started fishing and kind of first started seeing you and your whole group, Nick and Wackham, and to see what you guys have done over the last couple of years to where you were just some of the guys hitting it hard and now you're kind of the guys.
I wouldn't say the guys by any means.
Well, it seems like anytime something's going on, you guys are involved.
Okay, I could see that. Yeah.
There's definitely a community. There's definitely a community that you guys
Well,
are
the
central
fishing
to.
community in general, I've been doing this for a long time, and I'll just say most of my stuff's behind the scenes. I'm not a pat myself on the back or hear myself talk and tell you how wonderful I am.
Well, we
Type,
apologize for having you on. If you don't like,
No, it's all.
talk.
Yeah, that's.
We're very
Sorry to put you on the spot.
Just like-
Cover on this. We didn't know. My bad.
I should say self-praise. You know what I mean? So I just like seeing cool shit happen in what I love doing, and it's cool having like best friends that are rad with it too. You know.
And it's been very cool to see your guys' cool
Appreciate
shit
that,
get
dude.
bigger and bigger.
Especially Nick. You know, we were there since before the podcast, so watching that blow up and turn into something to the point where it benefits families and everything else, like it did this year. Pretty amazing. You know, what I mean, beyond
That was a big
community.
that was a big outcome for the toy drive, man. It was awesome, and it was amazing.
I didn't
It's pretty
realize
funny
so
at the
much
same
cash
time I
was
have
raised.
my wife and son over here talking shit at the same time, like dad and all his dorky fishing friends, fucking idiots. It's so funny because we think like how cool it is, and they're like, "Oh my god, really?"
Well, we know how
It is, huh?
I remember one time my wife said, she goes, I hear you and your friends talking. It's just like boring.
Yeah, she doesn't even call it that. She's like, "Oh, you and your fishing host."
Yeah, but we like it.
Oh yeah.
Come on, guy. Yeah.
My wife calls
isn't
Luke
Florida.
and Charlie my other girlfriends. So
It's like, you know,
What did she say? What did she say last week? She goes, "Who the hell
Oh,
is going
yeah.
out
My
at
wife.
2 a.m?"
She's like, I don't know who goes out at 2 a.m. I'm like, people like
that's
me.
funny. Yeah, when I used to do a lot more of the night pounding, the same thing. The wife used to say the same thing. Like, why are you out all night? Who are you out to in the morning? I'm like, really? Here's pictures of me on the water, you know, with like Whack and Nick or whoever else I was shore pounding with or whatever. And from San Diego to freaking Long Beach. And or that, or another event.
Yeah. Here's pictures of me wearing 3 jackets because it's so damn cold.
Fishing at night just because I don't have to see anyone. I don't have to interact with anyone. I don't really have to talk with anyone unless it's security.
Yeah.
But you try to.
So you're antisocial, huh?
Very, very much so.
But the wife's pretty smart. She figured out real quick and said, there's definitely worse habits you can have. So
True. I could be going out of the strip club every night.
Yeah, well,
but I'm choosing to fish.
I'd rather waste money this way.
Carlos, he's going to go hook up with some fish.
I don't.
I like that was the ultimatum. Like, I'm going to fish once a week, maybe once every other week, or titty bar every night. I should actually try that one. That's a pretty good one. When you span it out like that, hey, I'd like to go fishing once a week, maybe twice, maybe,
Or you'd rather me go to the titty bar every day.
Or drinking it every
single day.
Every day. It has to be every day or the ultimatum doesn't work.
But even with that, it's definitely seriously finding a balance of that because, the wife and we have 6 kids and us. And so between balancing the family, so don't worry, we got a big TV now, so I'm solid. But
I thought I had a lot of kids.
Those are the ones just swimming in your beard. I'm just kidding.
Well, like I always said, my buddy, he's got 4, and I said, we were having a contest to see who could have the most kids.
Yeah.
And then we realized we were both losing.
But it's definitely, I've only got one anymore. My littlest dude that is really big on. He's probably caught. He's like kind of like Jeremy, little Jeremy. Like he loves fishing. He'll go anytime he can get. He's probably caught bigger tuna than most dudes. The kid just loves it, and these guys are spoiled. They only want to go if it's on the boat. But if to catch pelagics,
it kind of changes your perspective on fishing when you jump on a boat.
Yeah, And then I
love short
my
pounding.
oldest dude. She wanted to go hunt on her 10th birthday, and now she's freaking wearing comfy shoes, eating nothing but vegetables in LA. You know what I mean? It's like, well, it is what it is. Let them be them. It's the biggest thing.
Well, my son, I said, what do you want to do for your birthday? Me and him, we both have our birthdays tomorrow. So what should we do for our birthdays? He goes, thank you. He goes, let's go on another one of those Dorado trips.
Because he killed it.
Yeah.
You know what?
Way south.
You're just like, yeah. Well, I'll have one planned out tomorrow.
Yeah, let me get right on that.
Yeah. Another one of those Dorado trips.
So how often are you going fishing now?
Right now, work is really, really busy. So I'm a contractor, and nowhere near like I wanted to try and maybe even get a little bit of short a day, and it didn't happen. So it is what it is. There's always tomorrow, but that balance is key because there's been times where you do get zoned in and you're just gone like every freaking day, and then like I said, luckily we got good communication in this house, so it's easy for her to be like, hey, babe, I'm still here too. And at the end of the day, this is my nucleus, you know what I mean? So the fish are there no matter who burns the cut.
Yeah.
We'll find it at some point. So, it comes and goes, at Flurries. When you've been doing it a long time, there's, those months where you're every day, and then there's ones where it's like, okay, got to go twice this month, so I'll take it. So
is that your number right now? Twice this month?
This is December. Salt probably 3 times, fresh probably about 5 or 6.
That's not bad. That's not a bad number for the month.
Yeah.
So take what I can get. We're trying to do the family stuff, the holidays and stuff too. Traveling around and doing all that. So squeezed a lot of it in last month.
That's good.
What about you guys? You guys been out lately?
We went out
Sunday morning.
Sunday morning.
We did the early trip.
Sunday morning, the heartbreak trip.
I'm still.
We had one of those bites where only big ones bit. It was few and far between, and they were all big, and they were all digging for structure. And I I think Charlie had the short end of the stick on that
Yep.
day. Would you have 5 berry?
What size gear were you throwing?
I had 300 pen and 794 iRod.
Yeah, the 794 is definitely a lot of fun. Like I'll downsize to that if I'm certain times.
I like
when I'm fishing for the big ones.
Downsize, by the way.
Yeah, because it's got a lot of bend, dude. I mean, it's a good rod.
It does.
But it is. And
rod,
it's but I even like that 804. I like that 804.
I
for when I'm fishing the bigger ones.
That's the one I should have took. That's the one I should have taken, but I decided to take the 794.
Yeah, I have fun with it too. Like I say, especially if it's one of those where it's like all night bite, I'll switch to that and just throw some of the smaller stuff on it, and then throw the bigger stuff on the 804 just to make sure that I'm not undergunned, because I'm not happy with losing stuff. Yeah,
all
like a panda. Yeah, okay, Poppy.
Yeah. Right.
You know all the best stuff, pal.
But yeah, it was actually my first time hooking up on a big fish, you know. It definitely rocked me, man. But like I said, I'm just barely kind of figuring out who you guys are. I mean, I've seen you here and there, and so it was kind of nice to see some new faces carrying on some of this fun stuff. You know what I mean? Enjoying it, seeing the people actually stoked again, because there's definitely ways where if you've been in the quote unquote community for a while, things can become monotonous or they're dramatic, and you just rather stick to yourself and go out and have fun on your own. You know, if you run into other guys who are having fun, then you'll enjoy it too. But I've seen what you guys are doing, and you're genuinely enjoying fishing, which is the way it's supposed to be. So
there was
not for
I think so far we've been pretty good about seeing some drama and sidestepping it. We've definitely seen it rearing its ugly head and been like,
go that way.
We're gonna go this way.
It is what it is, but yeah.
I'm not going to name any names, but we had some people trying to call out Daniel for a while, and that became the big joke.
Well, I just barely met Daniel at the toy drive, and it was nice meeting him. Like I said, if you're a good dude or a nice person, like, go for it. Period. I mean, I don't care. I mean, I've seen many brands, bait companies, whatever you want to call it, come and go throughout the years. So I mean, it's like, another one, But at the same time, if a guy's doing it for himself or his buddies, who cares, dude? Enjoy it. Like, you know what I mean?
That's how we are, man.
I'm the same way. Like, there's a lot of people that are like, hey, can I just pick your mind about how do you do this? What do you do that? Like, where should I go from here? And I'm just like, first off, enjoy it. Because once you stop enjoying it, then it's going to be, a chore, and then fishing's a chore, and then it's like, it's no good from there. Start small. But also, I'm very open about, like, my processes, what I do, what I use, how I go from here. Because ultimately, I started all this for myself, because I just got tired of dishing out money to the big companies of just reusing baits. And then I was like, you know what, I have enough knowledge and know how to, make my own baits. I've watched countless videos of other people making baits. Why don't I just start doing that? And now it's progressed into something I really never thought would come about, but it's there. And now I'm just kind of following it and riding it along, and I'm excited to see how big it is and how big it's going to be.
Well, and that's where you really have to keep your head in a spot of knowing that 9 times out of 10 you aren't reinventing the wheel.
Oh yeah.
I mean, many people tie their own jigs, and many people will long after you. Many people poured plastics and will long after you. So staying humble, and then, like I said, remembering why you're doing it is huge too. I mean, it's because if you're doing it for yourself, that's cool, because overall, let me let my dog out. Your chart.
Yeah, and one of the things that arises, especially when egos get involved, is that aspect. It's where it's like, hey, I'm not out here making this newfound fishing lure.
Well, that's what I was trying to say, is at the end of the day,
Yeah.
There's lots of different plastics that are similar or the same thing. But once again, if you're doing it for yourself, like it could be fun too, because if you're not already tweaking on baits, if you're not making your own baits, then you're probably not fishing much either.
Yeah. So what's fun for me is it's like, I make a craw. You know how many craws there are? So my first thing is like, get some craws. If you need whatever bait you need to get bit, use that bait and get bit. But correct. I also make baits, and if you want to buy them, by all means, purchase them. I love making it.
Yeah, and that's great. And that's why I said, if you're doing it, as long as you remember why you're doing it, and that's what's important. Because like I said, you're also there's going to mean that much more to you when you get bit, or when your friends get bit, or you see some stranger hitting you up saying they caught a PB, or, you know, you go to throw yourself, and now throwing that jig means that much more because you spent all that time freaking tying all those skirts and everything else, you know, trimming, cutting, changing what materials or what sparkle or whatever freaking thing you want to use. You know what I mean? So, it's good stuff. I like seeing people do that because it also means you're progressing as a fisherman as well, you know? So unless you're just tying them and selling them, like, because you're going to get weeded out real quick if you're just doing it for $1. I mean, I've seen even established dudes decide like, oh, I'm suddenly going to make a bait, and it's just to make money, and people will right off that, well, that guy didn't even fish this freshwater. Why is he all of a sudden making a freshwater swim bait out of nowhere? Like, but it's just the same thing about getting stuck in using only one kind of bait. You know, I mean, I'm all for guys who want to. Once again, the sudden impacts are great. They get bit. You know, the guys that want to use hookup baits and they only want to fish hookup bait. I think that's just as crazy to only fish one kind of bait and stunt yourself in certain situations as well. So, but you should do whatever makes you happy, you know, at the end of the day.
Sounds like
no. I'm saying period. Whatever happened, I know you fish other stuff. I love the sudden impacts. I started fishing those when Shannon first said, "Hey, check these out" and stuff, and they produce. Hookup baits produce. It doesn't mean I want to only fish certain things, and I don't. I mean, honestly, I don't really throw tubes overall. So I mean, but
don't you only fish hookup baits and sudden impact?
Yeah. No, but I didn't know. I didn't know that you were throwing the sudden impacts hard because they were producing for you, so it became your confidence, right? So, at the same time, you pound one area or a certain area for a certain amount of time.
You know what? I would say not only did it become my confidence, but they make so many baits. There's so many, and then I kind of went through a phase where I was like, I only want to fish baits from people I know. So 818 baits, predator baits, Dolan baits.
And this local stuff is all great too, but there's plenty of stuff from, you know, the East Coast, the Midwest. There's all kinds of cool shit if you spend the time and look around. But once again, a lot of it is similar. And there's some stuff that's proven in those areas, but you go and pull them out here. And some of that freshwater stuff is working just as good right here in the salt. So, but it shouldn't mean like, hey, I'm never going to throw a crank, or I'm never going to throw a jerk bait, or I'm never going to throw a jig. Like, that's crazy. You know what I mean? So, what Salty Beard want to answer?
We actually we did some jerk baiting over the week, and that ended up working out pretty well.
I'm pretty sure I saw Luke Charlie.
The what?
Nothing.
Yeah, no.
What's cool as a bait maker is I really get in tune with the baits that I make. And like you're saying, it is changing up baits just to target something other from kind of the start with a specific style of bait. But also, when I make something, I try to fish it in a number of different styles so that I can have a better understanding. So I can go, this kills on the Texas rig. But if you want to throw it on the Ned, that's fantastic. It's also really good on the Tokyo rig, or on the drop shot, or on the Carolina rig, or this or that or this. Oh, you fish like this? This bait's good, but here are a lot of complementary or substitute baits that you can use. So that's been fun for me.
I think for me, it's just a matter of I get bored. So changing line size, changing baits, you know, there'll be plenty of times where, you know, I'll go out and the guys will be throwing a couple swim baits, and I'll catch them on a swim bait, a plastic, jerk bait, whatever, just because I'm changing it. You know, I've got them all tied on and I want to throw them all because I caught a million on a sudden impact. So now all of a sudden I want to
throw something,
catch one on a freaking big crank and see what happens, or I want to throw it on a glide or whatever and see what happens. So
I like to use clips because I like to do ADD fishing. It's like, all right, I've done 4.
I'm a witness of that, man.
Baits.
Yeah, the clip thing's never been my thing, but I've been trying to I don't know, cycle it in ever since I went out. This last time with Caesar and we were out, and it was slow, and we took them out to PV, and then we shot out to Catalina in the Skeeter, and I was like getting bored. The bite would suck. There was no movement in the water, so and I was like, dude, if I had a clip right on. So I was like, hey, Jen, you got any clips? And I tied one on, and same thing, yeah. So I definitely, I think it's definitely something you have to be picky with, though.
You're able to just like keep switching. So. Yeah. I got, for the first time ever, I had a clip open up over the weekend, and that was on a big one. I don't think the clip failed. I think the fish bit and hit the clip.
I would think it'd be more of a turn, or where the bait went. What kind of bait was it? Okay, so
it was on a bluegill.
So you're throwing clips even on the plastics, like on the smaller plastics and stuff?
I throw clips on everything except Texas rig. But no, what I think happened is I think it compressed it, popped it open, and it had some size to it. But I think at the end of the day, I had one clip open up. Before I was using clips, I can't name how many times I've had a fish.
I guess
line. So I don't think you get the line break I used to.
From using them more, besides just on like the bigger baits and stuff like that, because those bigger baits already have some relief on the swim baits with the swivel hangers and things like that. But I don't know. I think it's just that stubbornness I get from my grandpa, who was always the same thing. The more things involved, the more things to go wrong. So I just, same thing with my trucks or something like that. They try to sell you like, it's got this and this. I'm like, oh great, one more thing to go wrong. Like I don't need that.
Well, it's funny. Every charter captain I went out with in Florida would go, "Oh, you got clips on everything. We're probably going to need to cut those off. They'll see them." And I said, "Oh, you know what? If you guys are all catching and I'm not, we'll clip them off." And never ended up.
That's what I said. It's the whole thing with this period is right. It's different strokes for different folks. You do what works for you and what makes you happy. Exactly.
Yeah, do whatever you want. I'm going to fish my clips.
Yeah.
And I'm going to change baits.
So I have a question. So did you start fishing fresh, or did you always fresh and salt?
I've always done both since I was little.
Both?
Yeah. I had a pretty kick-ass uncle who was kind of like a Kevin Matson. And so we always bomb trips down to Mexico and the Caribbean and all kinds of crazy exotic fishing. And then, we were always right here at all these local lakes. We always had Skinner. DVL came later on. Paris was always there, since way before me. So... Banana was when I started transitioning to a banana.
So do you have a favorite, or is it just like whatever fish is in front of you is your favorite?
I love them all. Honestly, I think the green bass, just because of the challenge of it. Because don't get me wrong, no offense to anybody fishing the saltwater bass, because I love them. I love the fight, but you could throw a flip flop with a hook and catch a fish. You know what I mean?
I've heard that many times.
So
not this morning.
No, I'm not saying always.
They're not going to buy my baits if you tell them that.
I guarantee if you make a flip flop bait in plastic and throw a hook on it, there's a trick.
Did you tell them what we were working on?
That's basically what this thing is.
A little halibut.
Basically a flip flop. Let's see if I can get in the light. There we go.
A little halibut.
Under.
You actually caught a fish on that, right?
One of those, Savage Gear has one too, right?
A lot of
like a turbo.
There's a handful of people that do. They usually, I want to say, they're more for lingcod or just rockfish in general.
Yeah.
But I've got a nice sized calico on it, and then my buddy over the weekend actually got a giant lingcod on it, just bottom fishing it. So that was pretty cool to see.
Oh, that's what he caught it on?
Yeah. Nice. I'll send Luke the picture.
I mean, fish eat fish. I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
it's just because it's available.
And there are some things that I need to revamp and just revisit on it to get more of an undulation on the tail.
Well, keep it probably from turning to right on the sideways. So you just got to have some kind of balance.
It ends up being pretty large to fit in the mouth.
Oh man,
straight. It does swim flat, which is cool. But what I want to try and do is work out a sinking and floating type plastic so that when I put it together, there's a pull up and a pull down. Or I just make it completely out of floating plastic. So there's a little bit that I need to kind of test and do just some R&D on, which is the fun part, I will have to say. But it's something that to revisit. It's not my full focus right now.
But once again, it's making it fun for you. So that's the thing. Like everybody wants to be all extra serious. Well, I don't care. I'll stick to my guns. It's you're not having fun. You're not doing it right. So,
you know what? Speaking of that, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago now. I went down to the launch ramp to help Daniel work on a bait he was developing and help him. We were messing around cutting plastics, and I swear to God, that hour was so fun. I've never messed around with that kind of stuff before.
It's even more fun when you're helping your friend pour and burning your hands and stuff because he's the only one with gloves.
I've never poured with him, but I've watched him pour.
And I think I was able to, like I said, I've only been able to tune into some of these like at the tail end or whatever because of kids sports or whatever. But I heard Daniel, I think you said that you had started out in the trout thing. That's pretty much where you started.
Yeah, fishing wise, I started out with trout fishing.
What made you switch over to the salty stuff and all that? Who kind of to some of these guys, or who did you look at and go, man, I want to try that?
I have always fished saltwater, but never as aggressively as it has been in the last 7 years. And I want to say it's been maybe the last 10 to 15 years that I've been fishing more seriously. And, a portion of that is definitely for freshwater and for trout fishing in general. So I grew up fishing trout. We used to go up to the
June loop and all
that. Multiple times a year. That turned into a father-son trip, which turned into a Boy Scout troop that turned back into father-son. So it was that was kind of just our yearly tradition. It was just trout, a lot of fun. And then one day my dad and I were just you know what, we could do this better. And so we finally started researching, all right, how do we catch trout? What does it mean if they're hitting top? Okay, if they're in the top, why are we fishing down here? What's different water columns? What's temperature? What time of year? Blah, 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 blah. And so that kind of sparked a deeper interest in kind of the following fish species and throughout the year and being able to pinpoint them and strategically fish them depending.
Sorry, dude. These guys are horrible in the comments. Go ahead.
They're going at it on the comments.
He basically wanted me to have you point on this doll where they touched you. Boy Scouts.
It's nice when we put when you put it on YouTube.
Don't worry, my hair was parted.
Scouts honor.
So then I started working in Marina Del Rey on the boats. And because I was in Marina Del Rey already, I was well, I might as well learn this bass fishing scene because of convenience, and I'm here. If I show up 30 minutes before work or if I fish 30 minutes after work, I want to catch something. I love fishing. It's always been fun for me. So I just started picking it up, just kind of, messing around here and there. And then I started to catch fish and then kind of started to catch more fish. And I'm oh, this is kind of enjoyable. I think I can get better at this because the times that I didn't catch fish, I was starting to get annoyed. I was man, I know I can catch fish. I know I'm better than this. Why did I not catch fish this time in a 5-hour period? Because that's too long not to catch a fish.
So basically you work boats to gain dock access. Got it.
Yeah. And then I never showed up.
Well said.
Anyways.
Well said.
So then,
you started with more of this, because when we say salt water, I mean, that can mean an array of things. I mean, a lot of my saltwater beginnings had nothing to do with bay bass stuff. It was all pelagics and rockfish and stuff.
I started baiting wading, man.
Yeah. So
digging the sand,
banana
cast out.
One of the things that my dad and I did was fish for bat ray early on. We used to go down to Newport and go to the public docks and then just throw out a huge full piece of squid on the heavy rods and then wait. I mean, we have been absolutely tooled out there, and you're just holding the rod, and this thing's not turning one bit, and you're just all right. 5, 4, 3, snap, and that's all.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah, that's fun just because it's like you get to feel something just extremely large and extremely powerful at the end of the rod.
Yeah, that's like it's strong and powerful at the end of the rod.
Oh, you said bad rate, man. You're gonna get.
That's like me.
You said bad rate. Now this whole
fishing squad when we caught that sea cucumber and we Eiffel Towered it. That was killer. Those things are warm inside.
Did you hula hoop it? Make eye contact.
Warm inside. It was amazing. Thanks, Nick, for that memory.
He didn't tell me that story.
We up in the microwave first. It was beautiful. Like a blown out Hot Pocket.
So how long do you test that? Because the last one I did kind of blew up on me.
What's that? Oh yeah. Oh, I threw it back. I think it still swam.
I just had a little bit of that mermaid's milk coming out of it.
Merman milk, yeah.
So I have a question, man. So how old were you when you started fishing?
Geez. I think the youngest picture that I have is probably like 7 years old, but we started at probably like 3 or 4. There's a local places. There used to be a place, if you're old enough to remember it, but first off, there's right here in Menifee, there was always this Gene's Channel Cats where like parents would take their kids to go catch catfish or trout. Like it was a little pond that they stocked and you had to pay by the pound to eat. It was like, they just feed them freaking pellets or whatever. But then, there's a place called Whitewater and it was on the way to the desert. And same thing, it was these big giant ponds full of freaking huge trout. And at the first real lakes though, because we had, I grew up part of my life on a 30-acre ranch that had, we had our own pond on the bottom 10 acres. And we used to go poach Canyon Lake as kids before there was like really any gates and stuff and just catch a million bluegill and bass or whatever you could throw a hook in and catch just off the shiny hook. And we'd fill up the buckets and come and go put them in our own pond. So, yeah.
Well, you used to put them in a pond, man. My dad used to put them in a fryer, a bucket full of bluegills.
Yeah. Trust me, that same uncle I told you about was the same guy who'd pen bluegills just to watch you, show you how fast a bass can swim.
Yeah, we used to go to Magic Johnson Park, man.
You'd eat out of Magic Johnson? Ooh. How long have you lived with AIDS? I'm just kidding.
That's why Charlie's so tall.
Oh man. Well, growing up.
Someone's asking, what do you make working on right now there, Daniel? Somebody's asking about that.
Oh,
you remaking that sea cucumber for us?
The sea cucumber.
It looks like a sea cucumber. So right now I'm working on trying to get a sample pack ready for Fish Alliance and Performance. I also need to get stuff done for Tackle Shack, but slowly going. As of right now, I'm working on just orders that I can fill.
Are you just trimming plastics then?
Huh?
Are you just trimming your plastics right now then?
No, I'm actually pouring them. I'm trying to do a swirl of a green. I'm trying to do a green and black swirl, which is definitely not my area of expertise, but it is kind of fun. Push it a little bit more. So
once again, then if it was me and I was there, just know I'd probably slap the shit out of you right now for not wearing a mask while you're pouring hot plastic.
Yeah,
he knows better.
I do. The back didn't turn out all that well.
I know. I saw it all over. That's why I was hoping you was trimming plastics. Just saying, man. I don't know if you got a family or anything, but they'd probably like to have you around for a while.
Yeah, they do. I'm pretty well ventilated, but I do need to wear the mask. Just a little bit hard to talk.
It's your life, buddy. I'm just saying.
You're not wrong. So on that note, I'll be moving over to something that's not hot plastic. So if you guys...
Which is me continuing to mix this hot plastic.
Now, this is the 20-gram jig that Anthony made. Pretty cool. I have a couple of these to clear coat, so I can do that on camera.
Those?
Huh?
Who made those?
So Anthony Black Flag made himself the mold, but I pour it for him because I have all the lead.
Fun.
But it's kind of fun. And yes, I do wear the mask for the lead. I do. Just not doing it now.
And the gloves.
You should wear it for everything.
Just poured up some lead weights too. I got to clear coat these. They're going out Wednesday to a customer.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna need some new weights.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Luke, don't worry, they're coming, man.
Luke would like to phone a friend.
But the fun part is I just got 200 heads in from Deeks.
Deeks.
I'm gonna,
he's a good dude right here in Canyon Lake.
Yeah, I'm going to be tying up Ned rigs for the near future. That's going to be fun. That's been an interest.
I just wish he'd make some jumbo versions of his weedless Neds.
Yeah.
Like 1 ounce, 1.5 ounce.
Snag 'em tackle or snag 'em baits. I don't know if he wants me to tell anyone this, but too late. I am. He is in the works of something bigger for those Ned rigs. Cool. In the ranges of an ounce. So I'm actually really excited for those. Those are going to be pretty cool. I want to see how they come out.
Banana, stop worrying about it, dude. This is our version of Hollywood Squares, bro. Yes. That's what we're doing. What about you, Charlie? I know you're probably the newest dude that I've seen as far as like to the fishing stuff. So I'm sure this is all adventure with you as well. Or
no, for sure, most definitely, man. I met Daniel doing one of.
I've seen that.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Thank you for that. I met Daniel doing one of OSNAP. Are you familiar with OSNAP?
OSNAP hookup.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I met Daniel at one of his little tournaments that he would throw, so we're kind of going back and forth, but like I told you in the beginning, I mean, I started fishing freshwater, my dad taught me how to fish, man, with a piece of stick and some line,
That's what's up. That's what I did. I remember in the crib and we used to hand line with a can and freaking line around.
Dude, we did that. I'm telling you, we used to do that all the time at
we used to take bar jacks and stuff off the rocks. It was freaking dope. Which same thing with bait and little hooks and just
freaking he got me a little Kmart rod back when Kmart was a thing. A push button rod and push button rod and just swimming a little grub, catching little largemouth. I caught a little nice 1 pounder one time off the bank, so that was pretty cool. But then I stopped fishing, man, and started going out. And
are you a younger dude?
I got back.
Or how old are you?
I'm 35, man.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So started fishing with my buddy on the sand. Started baiting, waiting, and
that's fun though too. You're gonna get bit on bait, so.
Oh man! So then we one day he just hit me up and he was like, "Hey, let's go fish for some spotties." So my buddy, he's really cool with what's his name? I'm blanking. Bobby Martinez.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of her.
Yeah. So he's really cool with him, so they know each other. So he's like, "Hey man, let's go try to spotty fish." And I was like, "Dude, I'm not gonna catch anything. I want to catch fish." I knew I was confident with bait and weighting because I was gonna catch something. And the first day I caught a spotty, man, it was over. I was hooked. Right on. And started fishing bay bass, and then started joining little tournaments here and there. I won a couple, so that gave me more confidence.
Won a couple. Charlie was my rival for a long time. He actually, unbeknownst to him, I should say, actually drove me to be a better fisherman because I wanted to be so bad. There was one day I was right there, and I was measuring probably a 16 or 17-inch sand bass.
Oh, the one you lost?
Oh, oops. Dropped it in the
lost.
You mean 8?
But, or 8, yeah. But yeah, man, I started fishing. We started fishing, we started fishing a harbor at MDR. When we started fishing, man, it was a lot of pressure already, so.
At MDR? No way.
Oh. There's no fish there, man. There's no fish there.
Walking the channels in Venice.
Actually,
so then, we started fishing hard, and then I met Nick, man. Fish hard.
I met Nick from SoCal, and then he just put me on another game. You know?
Yeah, he's kind of all right.
He's better than all right.
He's kind of all right. He's kind of an all right guy.
So, you know, and started fishing the jig, man. I never fished a jig, and he gave me the confidence to fish the jig. So I caught some pretty nice fish, man. I caught my PV on a jig, man, a 18-inch spotty.
You guys are all over north? Like Long Beach area? Luke?
Yeah, so south.
So we're more South Bay.
So, you know, more stoked, right?
Yeah, heck yeah.
And then man, and then I met Luke, and then he invited me on a trip one day, and I couldn't make it because it was too early.
And that's where I come in.
And then that's where he comes in. But that's when Daniel got his PV, man.
PV.
Well, I remember Luke came on my radar after the LA Fishing Alliance when we had that tournament there. And he came in, was all stoked on fishing tournament. He's like, "Oh, dude, I placed and all that." He was all pumped, and I was like, "Oh yeah, dude."
Yeah, that was a really fun.
Yeah,
I was hoping there were going to be more of those this year.
Yeah, I kind of informally met you that day. I bought a raffle ticket from you.
Yeah. When those events are on, man, I just plan on not really getting to do anything else. So besides,
but then you know, I got formally introduced to you for the casting crank. You know,
I appreciate you coming down and helping out with that
for sure, man.
Awesome. Yeah,
I was stoked when he told me to go. You know, he was like, "Hey, you want to come with me?" I was like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "Are you going to get up?" And I'm like, "I'll be up." And
it's too early. No, I can't make it.
And yeah, man. Well, that's a little bit about me, you know.
But like I said, I saw Luke. He was catching fish, and I don't think the size that he was fishing for. And then I saw the transition once he found a little extra juice and a little extra insight. And that's why I don't understand why people aren't willing to say, "Hey, dude, this is how you throw this, or this is how you do that." Because fuck, dude, he doesn't want to catch big fish. You know what I mean? So seeing him make that transition and give him the confidence, that was pretty cool too. So it makes it hard. I mean, you still appreciate all the numbers, but and when you're catching bigger ones, it's definitely
makes it all worth it.
Well, we had a couple 100 fish nights, you know, and you go, okay, my hand hurts. I need to do something so I don't have 100 fish a night, and you start throwing bigger baits. Wait a minute, there's bigger fish in here.
I'm just trying to catch like 5.
Just kind of moves from there.
Catch 1, Luke. Leave some fish for the rest.
Yeah, but you start hitting the wall enough, and you hit the days where it's the right day, and when the fish are schooling up, where you're catching 40, 50 by yourself in a night, you start going, okay, this is fun, but instead of a 4-inch bait, let's throw a 6-7-inch bait and start weeding out these little guys.
Kind of like what
that's when the
Phil
big
was
guys
saying when by saying that he gets bored, so he moves on to a different bait
or a different place. I fish everywhere from San Diego to freaking. I've been up there even with the Banana Boys and freaking got to go do some kayak fishing and stuff out there in the Monterey area, and that was really cool to be catching freaking rockfish and everything in 30, 40 feet of water. It's like, damn, dude, I didn't even know that stuff kind of existed, and make my way back down through Ventura and all that and hit all those little spots along the way and figuring out those spots that are all different in their biodiversities. You know what I mean? So it was so much cool shit if you just get out instead of getting stuck in your ways.
So cool shit. Just tell us some of your different, like your standout cool catches.
I don't know. I guess everything, because one of my best buds is Sean Cooley of Cool Baits, and I think every time I've been to any island, pretty much, and I'm throwing that fishing for calico, I've caught yellowtail on it, no matter what. So catching them on plastic is always fun.
When you say the island,
San Clemente or Catalina.
He's got to keep it mysterious.
No, I mean that's literally the 2 islands close to us. So, I mean, I haven't really done the Channel Island thing, even though been invited up a couple times. It just hasn't worked out yet. But I still look forward to it.
Channel Islands is a lot of fun.
Yeah, there's some good dudes up there. I don't know if you guys know Daniel from Redemption, or
I know Daniel.
Or Ray Sharifi.
No, me and Redemption have been trying to work out a day to get out together for like a year now, and it's always
he's coming out for some freshwater with us and stuff like that. But he's just a good dude, so it's always fun anytime you can fish with him. He's dialed in with a lot of good, amazing bait makers and stuff as well. So he's definitely got some great product to throw as well. One of his colors that he makes for me is one of my or he makes that I kind of just whore onto it is the one that's one of my all-time favorites to throw at in the port. So it's always been good to me.
Did you know what color that is?
Sure, it's the blue back with the black tail. So it's blue and black, like a aqua blue and black.
I'm going to be stalking this page later.
You should go for it.
Actually, no,
go catch them, dude. It's awesome.
It's far on here. I already do.
Get it in the 6-inch or bigger.
I thought 6 inches is big.
What about outside?
What's that?
What's your big tuna?
I always
did some tuna fishing, right? What's your big tuna?
I think my son has an almost 200-pounder, and that's still bigger than mine. Yeah, I just helped him with it, but that kid, you'll see it on my page. This kid's got some big tuna. I saw that picture. He's only 10 years old now, so. But for me, I think, like I said, the exotics that I've gotten to catch throughout life. I think one of my all-time favorite catches was as a kid. My cousin and I were in St. John on a sailboat. And we were freaking catching porgy. There's a type of almost like a bream out there, like a perch style fish. Really delicious. But we were freaking catching them for dinner because we would usually in the evenings go catch a couple of that or spear some snapper and then go hand grab lobster out and throw them up fresh on the grill right there, just living from island to island.
And where?
And that was in St. John.
Okay.
In the U.S. Virgin Islands. And but they have great barracuda there, like big great barracuda. And we were in a place called Hawks Nest Bay, and we were fishing and catching porgy. And every time we caught a porgy, you feel this tug, and you're like, oh shit, and you pull it up, and half its body's gone with just tiger teeth ripped through it. And I'll never forget, we're like, I'm like, dude, let's throw half one back in there. And my cousin's 3 years older than I am. And the uncle I was telling you about, his son. And I threw that fucker back in there, and it was like a telephone pole. This fucking barracuda snagged this thing, and right then it's like, I don't know if you spent any time in any islands ever, but there's always random storms that happen, right? So it's raining, and it's pulling on this freaking thing, and it just starts launching out of the air. Wahoo do the same thing, but when you see a 6 foot, probably like, I don't know, 16-inch diameter, round barracuda jumping out of the water, it's freaking crazy. And it starts raining. It reminded me of an old movie called City Slickers, and they're like, it starts raining, they're trying to rope and pull these cows out of this river. Well, that's how this was. It started raining. I'm like, dude, this is crazy. This is epic. Just storming and this and that. We get it back to the swim step. And my uncle had this dude named Jerry. We called him Roadkill Jerry because he would, where he lived. This dude, where he lived, he would stop and get roadkill. If it was fresh, he'd go cook it up and take it home. Yeah. Well, this freaking guy, dude, he gets on the foot. Oh, get it. He's down there in this fucking weirdo in his little black Speedo. I'm like, this fucking guy is so weird. And he goes down there with a freaking pair of needle nose pliers. And this thing's like snapping their mouth, because they're just toothy, mean freaking creatures.
Mm-hmm. It's not.
And you already seen the teeth on those. These things are freaking huge. I mean, 6 foot